Welcome to the cockpit of your Outlaw. The first thing you do when you pull into any of your campsites before you start setting up the camp, you want to level out your motorhome. The worst thing you can do to the slide rooms on this motorhome is run them in and out while your jacks are not on the ground. To the left right here is your jack leveling touchpad. In order to operate this touchpad, you want to make sure the emergency brake is depressed all the way, and you want to make sure your engine is running. So I'm going to start your motorhome. You'll see some blinking lights. You can't really tell right now, but it says please wait. Once it's done saying please wait, you can then press the on-off button and it will say ready, jacks up. At this point, the best thing you can do is press auto level. It will do everything on its own. While you're in the auto level process, make sure to remain still inside the motorhome. Just the slightest movements can throw you off. So it'll kind of feel like a spaceship. It's going to ground the pads from left to right in the front, and it'll do the same thing in the rear, and then it'll actually level out. You do not move or shut the engine off until you see auto level success, and it will say complete. At that point, you will power off the touchpad. Alright, we had the blinking light and now it says auto level success. At this point you can then turn it off. Now let's say you are ready to leave your campsite and you want to retract your jacks. Right here's a retract button on the very bottom left corner. If you press and hold this button for 5 seconds, your jacks will automatically retract all the way around. Now let's say, for example, you just auto leveled your camper, but for some reason it just isn't getting right. You can scroll up or down with the arrows until you find manual level. Press enter to begin. You can then press enter. And now you can use these directional arrows to control the left side, the right side, the front, or the rear of the motorhome as you are lifting up. If you want to go down, you will press retract and you'll notice the red light. Once the red light is on, if you press any of these buttons, you will be retracting that side. Also, another tip. If you press left front at the same time, you will only run the left front jack. That works for every direction and every jack on the motorhome. I'm going to shut it off, turn the ignition off. Now we're going to cover the cockpit features. To my left here, you have your odometer functions, info, setup, and reset for your odometer. You also have a night shade and a sunshade feature. So if the sun is out, you can roll down the sunshade on the front of your motorhome. It gives you some privacy, but it also helps with the temperature. If it's hot outside and you're running your air conditioner, I recommend running this down and the nightshade down. It should automatically stop on its own when it reaches the bottom. I'm running the nightshade down. It's actually on the other side of the sunshade. It is solid white, but it has a blackout material inside of it to where daylight cannot pass through. Also, on both sides of the cockpit, you have a slow rise shade. By slow rise, I mean when you are ready to let it go up, it will slowly rise on its own and stop at a certain set stop point. Once again, I recommend in camping mode, you have both sides pulled all the way down, as this is going to help you maintain a cool environment. There is an emergency start button right above your shade features next to the reset button for your odometer. If you ever try to start your motorhome and it will not start because the cranking battery is dead, you can press emergency start and use the house batteries for extra power to get your motorhome running. Directly next to that, we have a fog light switch for driving in foggy conditions. And then we have your headlight knob, which is parking lights and then headlights. Your high beam and low beam work just like most cars. Push your blinker signal down for your high beams, pull it up to turn them off. You also have your windshield wiper controls here, and you'll push in to use the fluid on your windshield wipers. If you are ever towing something with your motorhome, always have the tow haul feature, which is this button on the end of your shifter knob, pressed in. You will see something on the gauge that states tow haul mode once the engine is in a running feature, or in a running position, I mean. Make sure if you're towing something, you turn that on. It actually changes the way the transmission shifts gears, and it also keeps the transmission and engine oil at a much cooler level. Now, to the right of your steering wheel, you have dash fans. Notice up above you, you have a fan on each side of the front of the motorhome. You can turn them by hand to whichever direction you want. And this is a bi-directional rocker switch. So you have high fan up, low fan down. There's also a cab light switch, which is what we are using for lights right now. And then you have your generator start-stop command switch. You press up on this rocker switch. Once you get a solid light, your generator is running. If you want to shut your generator off, you just give it a shut off button down. And if you want to prime the generator with fuel, you're going to press and hold down, and you will actually see the light come on. That means you are priming. Generally, when you want to prime the generator with fuel, you want to give a 15-second count and then start the generator. Next to your controls here, we've got your radio. This radio has several features, but I want to point out just a couple. I refer you to go to your owner's manual for all the other features. Right here, you can see a little camera. If you press that, that will turn on your rear view camera. Also, you have turn signal cameras. Yeah, we're going to have to cut that out.